wanted to jump on here really quick. Something's going on with my camera holder. Like, hold the camera, please. My old AOT shirt. So I wanted to get on here real quick. Hey everybody, hey. And kind of just talk about my post this morning. Y'all see my eyes. Yeah, y'all know I'm a crybaby. So back in 2017, my son was incarcerated in August of 2017. Locked up till probably around November. He got out, was out for a weekend. We knew that he possibly had a warrant from 2017 from a different state. He was in Missouri. He was locked up in Missouri, and then but he had a warrant in Illinois. So I kind of knew. We kind of knew. But they had let him get a taste of freedom. They had let, like, my son was out, right? So he got picked up on the warrant. He took the plea deal, $15.50. And so he's going to do 2 more years. That's what we hope. Or less. But I want to really talk about parenting, right? And I'm going to talk about that because so many of us blame ourselves, right, when the child goes astray or doesn't live up to the potential that you thought they had, right? Girl, boy, they had kids early or, didn't make the best grades in school. So we often blame ourselves for those shortcomings, so to speak, right? Shortcomings. So as a parent, I kind of want to leave you with this. I did everything, right, for my son to not end up in the place that he is in. I moved him out of state. I moved him closer to male family members to kind of take him under their wing. For those that don't know, I won't get into that. That's a story for a different time. He was taken by the state because he was, out of hand at a very early age. I think he was 13 when they took him. So he was a ward of the state. He was in foster care when he caught his first major charge. So I've been going through a lot with this boy for a long time. But again, I want to say to parents, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. Kids will be kids. People will be people. You can train them. You can give them over to God, which you should. But that's a story for another time too. You can do everything in your power, in your humanly power. And they can still do something totally different. Something completely different, right? And every kid is different. So I want to tell you, it's not your fault. I promise you, it's not your fault. It's not, right? I'm a mother of 5. My older children, so my children are, 33, 31, I think. 25, 21, and then this little baby, 13. I think I got them older 2 ages, right? I get so confused, child. Look, I'm old. But the first 2 children didn't get the parenting that the last kids got, right? I was 14 when I had my son. I was 15 when I had my daughter, my older 2 kids. So they didn't get the parenting that I put into my other children. They got a kid trying to figure it out. Excuse me, guys. They got a kid, right? I was a teenager. And I look at Kaya now, she's 13. Like, how in the world did I have a baby at this age. Because I think, I look at some of the stuff she does and she's a kid. Okay, I'm getting off topic. Okay, so parenting. I was a very stern parent with my older 2 children because I thought that was the way to go, because my mother gave me so much leeway. Like I was a kid, I could pretty much do what I wanted, go where I wanted. I had a whole lot of leeway. As long as my grades were good in school, I could kind of do what I wanted to do. So with that, I felt like, if I had a little bit more structure, maybe I wouldn't have got pregnant. No, you was doing what you was doing. That's how you got pregnant. So I was really, really like tight on my children, them older 2. Like I was very stern with them, very, almost to a scary point, right? And then the third kid came, and he a baby, leave him alone. And that's the baby that unfortunately took a turn, and he ended up in prison. Then my 4th baby came along, and he got the parent that had found outside, like for real found outside, right? I'm motorcycle riding, I'm outside, I am outside. So he was being raised by a parent that was let's just say outside, okay? I'll leave it at that. And then there's the baby. She has a very laid back parent. I'm stern, especially when it comes to school, but I'm laid back. I'm in the house. A lot of my friends are like, girl, come outside. I'm like, I ain't coming. But she has that kind of parent, I'm in the house. I'm raising her, single parent. I'm raising her pretty much by myself. She's spoiled. Ooh, she's spoiled. But she's respectable. She makes the average grades in school. They're a little bit better than average. Let's go there. But even at 13, she could make a time at any given time. And I'm not going to blame me for that, right? I did what I could. I was the parent that I knew how to be at the time that I knew at that time. That's what I'm trying to say. And I felt the need to get on here and say this because I get so many inboxes when I say stuff about my children, especially the one that's in prison. How do you cope? How do you deal? Do you feel guilty? I did. Absolutely I did. Like, what did I do wrong? Where did I go wrong? What could I have done differently? I asked myself those questions for years, especially the first time he went to jail. Because this is not the first time. He's been in juvenile detention. He's been in a halfway house. He's now been in prison for 7.5 years, and he's on his way, probably as we speak, to a second prison, right? So he's been, it is what it is. He's matured. I can see it. So thank God we only got 2 more of these years left, and he's gonna get out and make something of himself. I'm sure of it, right? So I get the questions. How do you cope? So again, a long time I blamed me for his wrongdoings, right? What could I have done? But then I had to sit back and think, especially once I moved him. I just thought about it like, I did everything that I could to prevent all of this. And he made a decision. Does it hurt less by not blaming myself? Absolutely not. It still hurts. I cried all morning. Like, oh my God, my baby is back in prison. But that doesn't mean I blame me. I don't blame me. So that's what the whole purpose of this is. Do not blame yourself. Do not feel guilty. You've done all that you can do. And I'm going to take a page out of my father's book. Lord, I miss him. My father even said to me one time, you were the parent that you knew how to be. And I tell people all the time, you don't get an instruction manual when you get these kids. You just get a baby, right? No instructions to how to put it together or keep it together. You just get a baby. And me and my father used to talk about that a lot, you know, when we talked about our relationship and what he felt and how that, you know, all of those things. So I'm telling you, don't feel guilty. Do not feel guilty. Even if, and I'm just going to be honest, even if you were a not so great mother, and I'm going to tread lightly with this one because I don't want y'all to take this to the left field, but even if you weren't a not so great mother, okay, let me switch this around because I know somebody gonna inbox me and say, why did you say that? So I'm gonna say this. Even if your children felt like you were a not so great mother, but you did all that you knew how and could do, right? I had to straighten that one. Don't feel guilty. Allow your kids, right? Because I've had to do this several times, and I'm probably gonna have to do it again. I've had sit downs with my children, right? Several occasions. You know, them round table discussions where they would say, Ma, I didn't like when you did X, Y, and Z to us. Or I didn't like how we had to raise our siblings while you was outside. You know, so I get it. I have the hard conversations. Sometimes you have to have the hard conversations. So even if, going back, your kids feel like you were not the greatest parents, then that's when you sit down with them and have the hard conversations. But it still does not mean that you have to feel guilty, right? You shouldn't feel guilty for making certain decisions or moving a certain way. No. Kids have a brain of their own and they gonna do what they want to do. Here go this thing not holding my... I hate this thing. Oh, time to buy a new one. Kids gonna make decisions of their own. Kids, you know, they have a brain. So don't feel guilty. That's the bottom line of this video. Because it's probably gonna need edits. But anyway, don't feel guilty. Don't. Because I don't. I feel sad because my son is in prison. So I'm sad. I want to see my son. I want to spend time with my son, but I don't feel guilty. I don't feel guilty. And I'm going to say this. I don't feel guilty that Kaya gets a different parent than my other children, right? My oldest two children got a different parent. Then the middle two got a different parent. And now Kaya has a different parent. I'm older, I'm wiser, I'm more mature. My love is different. My love language is different. And yes, mothers have a love language outside of intimate relationships. You know, I watched, and just being honest, I watched how me being the stern, rough parent, the stern, in the street parent, I see how that turned out. It wasn't so good. So that's why I go hard for Kaya. That's one of the reasons I go hard for Kaya, because I don't want her to have trauma from her mother the way I may or may not have done to my other children. And this is just a real honest, this is honest, right? A baby at 14, yeah, it grows you up, but you get stuck at 14 because you never got to live 14, 15, 16 because you're a mother, right? So the things that 14, 15, 16-year-olds are doing, you're not because you're a mother. So there was, well, that's the story. Again, I was going to get into a story of a whole nother subject, so I won't go into that. That's a round table discussion as well, but the gist of this one is when kids go astray, no matter how old they are, stick by them. Stick by them. Do not give up on your babies. But you also don't have to feel guilty. Don't feel guilty about teaching them and grooming them, and then they go their own little way. Not your fault. Not your fault. They made a decision. Right, wrong, or indifferent. They made the decision. It's not your fault. So go be good mommies, good parents, because I can't leave the dads out. Go be good parents. Love on your babies. Hold them. You know. And pray. You never have to watch your child go to prison. But if you do, don't be guilty. Don't feel guilty. I promise you. Don't. It's okay. It gets greater later. So I will see you guys another time. This traffic is horrible. We was flowing and now we not. So I'm getting off of here. But yeah, don't feel guilty. See y'all.